Good afternoon, everybody. I am so excited to be here this afternoon. I hope you're going to have some good fun today. Do excuse me, this is my first time using this program solo, going live on YouTube. I've done it once before, but I had an expert team behind me who did this all the time. So welcome to Tips and Tricks with G Suite. I am your presenter, Sarah Westhead. And let's get in the right screen. Who am I? I am a certified Google trainer. I am a teacher. I teach English language arts at the Whitney Institute, and I'm the school librarian. And I'm also the leader of the Google Educator Group here in Bermuda. We just launched just a couple of weeks ago, and so we're really, really excited to be here today. All right, so on today's agenda, let's make this a little bit bigger so you can see that a little bit better. It's better to see the screen than to see me. All right, so what are we going to be looking at? We're going to be looking at Google Docs. We're going to be looking at Jamboard. We're going to be looking at Google Forms, Google Chrome, and Google Slides. So if that looks like a lot to cover in the next 2 hours, it is. Get ready to fasten your seatbelts. This is totally a whirlwind tour of highlighting just some of the unique features that you'll find in Google products. So you're going to want to make sure that you've got a pen and paper or even another window open with a Google Doc so that you can take your notes. And of course, once this broadcast comes to an end, it will be there on YouTube, ready for you to rewatch and to share with your colleagues and friends. All right. So special thanks to my colleague, Elizabeth Brown. She's social studies here at Whitney. She's going to be helping me in the background, monitoring the chat, because you can imagine following the chat in YouTube and trying to do the workshop at the same time can be hard. So Beth, you want to say a quick hello?
Sure. Hi, everybody. Good afternoon. I'm Beth Brown. I teach social studies at Whitney. And I'm just really excited to be here supporting Sarah and hoping that all your questions are going to be answered. So I'm here to support you guys with that.
All right, great. Thanks, Beth. So she'll be disappearing periodically. You'll see her little icon in the side just so that she can pop in. Do note that there is about a 10-second delay between you posting in the chat on YouTube and us seeing it here in the studio, all right? And you will see that we are powered by StreamYard. It's a free browser-based live streaming studio program that you can use with Firefox or Google Chrome. All right, so let's get started. We're gonna start with Google Docs. What is it? It's a free web-based word processor that is a part of G Suite, and it has a ton of, actually it's more than a number, it's a ton of built-in features that support both teachers and students. I think some of you are going to find that you might even be putting Microsoft Word to the side and beginning to use Docs, because it doesn't matter what computer you're on or what device. If you're on your phone, or if you're on your tablet, your desktop, your laptop, if you're at school, you're at home, you can access your documents anywhere you are. All right, so let's get started. We're going to start looking at giving comments and feedback on our on Google Docs. I'm going to stop sharing for a moment, and we are going to go to a Google Docs program. There we go. Make sure I'm clicking on the right button. So there we go. I'm in a Google Docs program. So the very first thing we want to be able to do is learn how to give comments and feedback. This is super, super easy to do. Basically, if you get a student who's sent you some work, they've done some writing, I'm an English teacher, so I do this all the time, and you want to give them some editing and feedback on what they've written, and but you don't want to make the changes for themselves. So what you want to do is, once you've received it from your student, you're going to click on this here where it says editing mode. There's a little pencil in the icon. It's in the top right corner. If you click on the arrow next to it, you can go to suggesting mode. And what is cool is that you can begin typing your comments in, and you're going to see it appears in a little green box. If you want to add a word, so it adds it in those green, and then when the student gets it, they will be able to just click accept suggestion, or they can click on the X and reject the suggestion as you're going. Now, maybe you want them to expand what they've been writing on, so you can highlight the words or the text that they've been covering, and you can add the comment. You're going to see this button has appeared right here on the side as well. A little circle, it's a speech bubble with a plus in it. It's up in the toolbar as well, the add comment. Simply click on that, and then you can type in your comment or your feedback. All right, so you can comment and go from there. What is also really cool is that if you have multiple students that are working in on a document, so it's a group document, you can actually tag them specifically. Sorry, I'm just checking something remotely to make sure something's working. Yeah, it's working. Okay, so if you were to highlight and add a comment, you add your comment, you can use the @ sign, and let's just tag my son in here for the moment, and you can tag them directly in it. If they are already a collaborator on the document, then they will see it automatically. If they are not already a collaborator on the document, adding their name to it or their email will allow them to join the document to get some help as well. Okay. I apologize if it's a little fuzzy on your end. Unfortunately, that may be bandwidth issues, depending on what's going on. Hopefully it'll clear up in a little bit. I know YouTube does that to me from time to time on my computer and other devices, etc. All right, the next tool we want to look at is the Explore tool. The Explore tool is so cool. This actually puts research right in your Google Doc. So what you're going to do is you're going to click on the Explore tool button at the very bottom. It looks kind of like a marker for a map at the bottom on the right side. Simply click on that, and you can do some searching. So if your report is on panda bears, just type in pandas. You'll get links to websites that might be able to help you. You'll find images. And if you have anything in your Google Drive that is related to pandas, it's going to click in right there as well. So say you have, okay, you found, let's panda animal, because we're getting a lot of panda computer stuff. So there we go, the giant panda. I can go to click on any of these, and it will open in a new page. And maybe I'm copying some information. I know it's off screen for you at the moment, so I'm copying information from another page. And let's get out of editing and out of suggesting and back into viewing. So there we go. We copy and paste. I know that this is from a specific website, so I can then highlight what I've just copied and pasted. And I can hover over the page that I got it from, and you're going to see there's these little quotation marks that have appeared. So by clicking on that, it will automatically create a footnote. You can see the footnote has just appeared. I'm going to close this window for a second so it gets a little bit bigger for you. Let's close those, so those are a little bit bigger. And it puts the footnote right at the bottom. So your students who are struggling with creating footnotes and citations, it does it for you right there and automatically for you. In fact, you can change the type. Let's go back to Giant Panda. If we go to web results, we can actually change the type of footnote that we are getting. So, oops. Too many buttons, too many things open. Let's look at putting in an image. So say we want to add this lovely picture of a panda. I can simply click on the plus above it and insert the image. and we get the image. Come on. I can drag and drop it and add it in. And there it goes. And what is really cool is that when you as a teacher get this document from your students, you'll be able to see exactly where they got that image from. So the citation, the giving credit where credit is due, is built right into Google Docs. And so that makes it super, super easy. They can shrink it down as they need to, etc., and add things. So let's close that up. Next thing I'm going to show you is the Citations and Bibliographies tool. And this is absolutely brand new, literally just came out in the last few weeks. So under the toolbar, you're going to go to Citations. We click on Citations, and we can pick, do we want MLA, APA, or Chicago author date? Let's stick with the MLA, and we're going to add a citation source. Click on the button. You can say what kind of document it is, how did we access it, print, website, or online database, print, and then we simply just start typing in the information. So Ray Bradbury. I literally just grabbed a book off my shelf. 450, oops, 51, publisher. We have, this one is Simon and Schuster. As a librarian, I absolutely love that this is now available. Simon & Schuster, publication year. This particular one is 1995. So there we go. I can add a citation source right here. I just simply click on and add citation source. So I can click Cite for insert in-text citations, or by clicking on the dot, I can get more information. So we can click on Cite. There we go. You'll see this button at the bottom. It's going to insert a bibliography, and it will start creating a bibliography for you right at the bottom. This is brand spanking new. I only got to start playing with it just a couple of days ago, and I was so excited that it was finally live for everybody for today to show you guys how to do this. All right, the next thing I want to show you in Google Docs. Some of us have students that have varying learning challenges. Some of them based in the physical disabilities, some because they have trouble with reading and writing. But for a student who has trouble with those kinds of things, Google Docs allows speech to text typing. So simply you go under the toolbar and you're going to click on voice typing. And you'll see there's a little microphone that's popped up. So we can click on the microphone. And I can start talking, and it will type exactly what I say. This is super, super easy. It makes life really, really easy for your students. And we'll stop there real quick. I just click stop, and then all that needs to be done is go in and fix any editing, any punctuation, etc., that you need to add in. It generally gets the spelling for you correct straight up. Makes it really, really easy. So thinking about those students who have physical challenges that, because they can't write, they can't type, or if you have students who just have a hard time getting their words on the paper, that may be the answer. So all they need is Google Docs, Google Chrome, and a microphone built in. So cool. All right, the last thing I want to show you in Google Docs, and yeah, there are tons more things that you can do, is that we are seeing lots and lots more students that English is their second language. Okay, how does it work with your accents? All right, so let's just pop this reel at how well does it work with our accents? You're going to just have to try that out. I have, from what I understand, people who have heavier accents have still been able to get it and get it to work. But you do speak slowly, and that can certainly help you. All right, so going back to translating your documents. If you have a document that you've been created already you've already got it in Google Docs, but now you have a student who needs access to it because English is not their first language. The only challenge that they have is that they are struggling with reading English. Simply, you're going to go to the Tools button and you're going to hit Translate Document. It's then going to ask you it'll give you, you can change the title of it if you want to change this. Maybe this is Spanish. Okay, oops. So we have Spanish, or we can do, oh, let's be more fun. All right, so then we click give it a new title. We choose our language. All right, so I'm going to pick Chinese Simplified, and I'm going to translate. And I'm going to stop sharing real quick because you're going to want to see the Chinese version of this. All right, there we go. For those of you who speak Chinese, want to go in there and translate it for me, it's there and done. This is so, so handy for your ESL students, especially when the goal is content, not English ability. But make sure you're proofreading, and you know, if you are not a native speaker of the language that you're translating it into, you may want to have somebody who does speak the language just give it a once over. But generally speaking, Google Translate's function is pretty easy to use. All right, so I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to close a couple of windows. Does anybody at this point have any questions in regard to Google Docs? Any questions? Feel free to pop them in the chat bar. Okay. All right. So the next thing we're going to show you is Jamboard. Now, Jamboard, you know, this came out. This is also a relatively new program from Google. And what is really cool about this is it's not only a digital whiteboard, but it's an interactive and collaborative learning space. So you can use this in the classroom if you're working with students. You can, if we ever had to, and God forbid, we have to go back to remote learning, if that were to ever happen, this is a way that you can collaborate before. Again, Jamboard, jamboard.google.com, or you can just Google Jamboard. So what we're going to do is I'm going to pop the first of one of these in the chat room.
Sarah, I do have a couple questions about Jamboard. Mr. Woolridge is asking, can you share on student assignments if you're using Jamboard? And then Ms. Gayton has a question. Once a document has been sent to you, can you translate it then or only as the author of the document? All right, I'm going to start with Ms. Gayton's question. No, once it's been sent to you, you can translate it. It's built into any document that you're looking at. So if a student has given you something and it's all in Spanish, then you can translate it to English, or if you're getting something from somebody else. I'm just looking for the question in regard to Jamboard. It's right above Ms. Gayton's question. It's John. Okay. Sharing on student assignments. Mr. Woolridge, if you can clarify your question, I'd appreciate that. I am going to share a link in the board, on the chat board right now. And what I'm going to stop sharing real quick, and we're going to go into Jamboard. All right, so this showing you how this works might help you a little bit. So this is Jamboard. So if you go to jamboard.com, you'll be able to create, jamboard.google.com. You'll be able to log in. You can share with your students. You can intentionally tag them and add them to a specific. You can actually also share the link so that everybody can work on it. If you are wanting a collaborative workspace, you do want to make sure that this is set at editor and not just viewer, because otherwise whoever is working on the space will not be able to do anything. So you want to make sure it's set on editor before you get.
All right, so what are some of the things you can do? Well, we have a pen. All right, so we've got our pen. And we have different weights of pens. We have different colors. It keeps it simple and limited. You can erase. All right, so we can erase what we need. We have the sticky note. So this pops up. You get to pick your color. Okay, so you can click save. We'll close this, cancel. It creates your sticky note. It can be moved around the board. It can be twisted. It can be made a little bit bigger or smaller. So feel free, if you want to click on that link, I'm going to share it again. You can click on this link. It's going to open the Jamboard in another window, and you'll be able to start playing with this, okay? You can add an image. You can upload from your computer. You can do an image search from on Google and find.
So Sarah, I'm sorry, I have a couple questions.
Yeah.
Does it work with Schoology and save what groups might write?
It will save exactly what you whatever you do. So if you are working on a collaborative document with your students, you now have it in your Google Drive in your so that you can go back and refer it. You can download it as a PDF or a JPEG. You can print it off if your students were making notes together. So that's really, really cool. I have to double check about the Schoology connection. I think it should work because if you're simply just sharing the link with them, it's not going to be a problem. So if you're sharing the link on Schoology, your students will still be able to access it. Okay. The writing is not converted to text at this point. So let's. Shawnette's got a question. Can the writing be converted to text? Unfortunately, not in the desktop version. However, if you are accessing it on a tablet or a smartphone, there is an adaptive program to it. So if you try to draw a circle, then it will actually make it a proper circle. So there is an adaptive text program as well. So we have text here. You can add shapes, basic shapes. What is also cool is maybe you have set up page 1 with your notes, and then you're going to say, okay, Lisa, Shawnette, Mark, you're going to go work on page 2. And then, all right, we've got, let's see, we've got Danica, Monica, and Gina, you're going to work on page 3. So you can add multiple pages to your Jamboard. So this really, it's, when you think about how we're trying to figure out ways to do collaborative learning with our students, but we can't work in groups quite the way we are used to. The access to technology, this is an awesome option. There is also a laser pointer. So if you need to, when you're presenting, especially online, you can bring a highlight to something and it disappears straight away. All right. So any more questions in regard to Jamboard? All right. I'm going to give you guys another minute or two so you can play because I have found that once teachers get playing with this, they don't want to stop. The kids are the same way too. And I would actually recommend the first time you ever do this with your students, that you play with Jamboard with your students, that you literally set it up as a time to play, because this is going to help them get used to how it works and get a little more comfortable with the tool. And then, of course, once that's done, they've had their chance to play with it. When you go back to use it the second time for real, then students will be able to use it without any questions or any problems. All righty then. All right, so are we, it's fun to play with this. It really, really is fun. And actually, let me log in on my, let's see if I can do it on my phone. Because yes, I have it on my phone. Let's see right here. All right, so let's see. Here we go. All righty then.
I'm sorry, we have a question from John Virgil. Can students be restricted to certain pages, or will they have access to all pages?
They will have access to all pages, unfortunately. That is one of the, that is something that doesn't quite, they haven't quite worked that out. You can't tag certain people in a specific page. Okay. All righty then. And Ms. Gilchrist, I see your question. I'm going to show you I'll try to answer that in a question. All right, in a second. So I am logging in right now, and I am going to use the adaptive text. Let's see, where is it? It's called Assistive Drawing Tools. So when you are on your when you're on your tablet or your smart pad, if you click on the pen, you'll see at the bottom there is the Assistive Drawing Tools. You can't see this, but I'm going to click on it. I'm going to click on a shape. All right, and so there we go. I've got it on, and now I can do a big old giant circle in the middle of the screen, and you can see that has formed directly into a perfect circle. So let's do another one. So I created a wonky rectangle, and now it's created a full rectangle. So Ms. Gilchrist was, as I begin, I'm going to stop sharing this one in a moment. It doesn't mean you can't stop playing with it, okay? But we're going to close that for the moment while I head back to the next screen. And we had the question from Ms. Gilchrist. So Microsoft Word, one of the challenges is that you have with Microsoft Word is depending on what the student has access to, it has to, generally speaking, it has to be downloaded to your computer. Unless your organization has Office 365, then they can use it online. So I know, for example, my son's a student at Berkeley. Berkeley has Office 365, so he can access Microsoft Word online. However, when our computer last upgraded, I'm a Mac user, you have to, if you don't have it on your computer, you have to buy it and download it. And of course, that might be out of the price tag for students. So that is one of the benefits, is online. It can be accessed from a desktop or a tablet or a smartphone. If you're working on a tablet or a smartphone, you just simply download the Google Docs app and you'll be able to access it from right in there. I will tell you, if you are on a smartphone, it has some limitations in regard to, it doesn't have all the extra tools and features. So it's basically just for the typing. So you can take your notes, etc., on your tablet or your smartphone, and then you can log back in on a computer later and do any of the extra pretty stuff, putting in your photos, all of that good stuff. All right. So we had another question, and that was in regard to Jamboard. Can you erase what a student has written? Yes, you can. You can even remove a student from access if you wanted to. That is if they have been put in independently. If everybody is sharing via just the link, then you are a little bit more limited. You can't remove a student from sharing or change them to just view only, because everybody has the edit access. Okay, so hopefully that answers those questions. All right, we are at 1:30, believe it or not, and we are going to start looking at Google Forms. Okay, and I'm going to try and close some of my other windows. So the next thing I want to look at is Google Forms. And what is, originally Google Forms was designed as a way for creating surveys, okay? But it has come around full circle, and teachers especially have found that this is a great way to use to give formative assessments to their students. The data can then easily be exported to Google Sheets or downloaded to a CSV file, which can be opened by Excel spreadsheets. So I'm going to just point through some of these notes real quick before I show you. So we're going to look at how to create a self-grading assessment. So we're going to go under settings to make it a quiz. We're going to go under presentation, etc., so we can set that up. And I'll also show you how to set up the individual questions. All righty then. So just going to quick stop share, and we are going to go to the appropriate tab. So you're going to see I've got a quiz that I've already started creating. All right. The first thing we want to do when we are creating a quiz for a student is that we want to make sure it's set up as a quiz. So the first thing is we give it a name. All right, BUT creating quizzes, that's for today. We have all these toolbars at the top. If we have any add-ons, that would go there. Customizing the theme. So if you want to change the color, if you want to choose an image, upload an image, you can do that there. You can even change the font. I strongly recommend that you leave it in basic. It is the easiest one for your students to read on the screen. Playful is not as bad, but the decorative gets very hard to read for our students. So I strongly recommend leaving it basic. You can change your colors around, etc. All right. This is a preview button so that you can, once you've created your quiz, you can go in and check that it's working properly, go through all the steps, questions, etc. See if it's working properly. We'll look at that in a second. But the key one is going to settings. All righty then. So we go under settings, and the first thing we want to do is we want to make this a quiz. So we've got general, presentation, and quizzes. We're going to go to quizzes, and we want to make sure that this tab is on. It's make a quiz, all right? You then have to decide, do you want the grade to be released immediately or later after manual review? Now, if you are doing multiple choice, matching questions, that sort of thing, you can do it immediately after submission. But if you have more constructed questions where students have to give a longer answer, a paragraph, etc., then you're going to want to make sure that this is set to later after manual review. You can also decide if the respondent, that's your students, can see any questions they've missed, if you want them to see correct answers and the point values. All right. Under presentation, you want to, if you do not, you may want to show a progress bar. You may or may not want them to allow them to submit another response. If you have them one try, that's it, you make sure that is unclicked. Also, the order of your questions is important. So for example, you have an image and then you have questions that follow that image. You need to make sure that this is turned off, because otherwise the questions can switch around on your student, and the question will not be matched with the photo that you've or image that you've just given. All right, the next thing is under general. You obviously want to make sure that you're collecting email addresses. Do you want them to get a response receipt? That's entirely up to you. Now, you can't see this in this version because I'm in my personal account, but if you are logged in to a G Suite for Education program, and your students all have a school-issued email address. I know that this isn't an option at the moment for most of us, but for some of us it is. You can limit to one response, and you can say that only students within your email domain can answer it. So that is another option as well. All right, so we're just going to save that as it is. And let's start creating questions. So we've got our email address at the top. So how do I create a new question? All right, I've got a sample question here. We have this toolbar that will move up and down as you add questions. You can simply hit the add a question, and you can write your question. Okay, and it will actually, you can see it's just defaulted. That it's just defaulted to what kind of question you think it might be. So if you don't want it to be a date, you can go back in and change to short answer, paragraph, etc., multiple choice. So let's make this a multiple choice. All right, so we have October 27th.
Sarah,
yeah.
That, there is a question. Is there an option for questions to be read audibly to students, e.g. by the teacher recording the questions? I'm thinking of younger students and or struggling.
Yeah. I have to double check, okay? There is an option to add video. So if there is that option, in regard to an audio question, I know that was something that was being talked about. I will have to double check. So Ms. Gayton, if you wanted to drop me an email later on today, I can get in and try and find that answer for you. But you can always add a video. So if you have a video of you reading the question, that would be the next option as well. There is, so demo teacher here, thank you very much. So the text help add-on for Chrome will do that. So yes, there are add-ons that you can add to extend the use of what you can do and what you can't do in Google Forms. So for example, if you wanted a student to get a certificate when they completed it, you can actually get an add-on that would be built in to the program and add it. So Jules, she has said, I've recorded myself reading the questions. So we'll just have to find the right add-on for you, Ms. Gayton, okay? All right, so let's go, and then we have, all right, so we have October 125th, so you can pick your question. So what do you want to do? The first thing is you want to make sure that all the questions are set as required, unless it's an optional question for your student to answer. You also want to make sure that you have the answer key turned on, okay? So if you're creating a question, you can add answer feedback. You can make it the number of points, and it's October 27th. You can add answer feedback, and the students would get a message. If they have the wrong answer, they can go and you can say, try again, or you can do the correct answers. So there's a lot of different ways that you can do this. You can add a link, you can add a video as well, all right? So let's have a look at another question, the short answer. What is the first part of a plot diagram? Okay, so we have our question. We want this to be a short answer. So we can go into our answer key and we can put multiple options. We can have as many as we want. So we could call that the beginning and go on for there. And so if the student doesn't answer any of your correct, any of the answers that you're willing to take, you can set this as mark all other answers as incorrect and go from there. Or otherwise, you can, when you go back and check it manually on the responses, you would be able to mark it correct or incorrect. All right, so then you can see at the top, it's slowly adding a total number of points. Now, when you're sharing this with your students, you're going to want to hit the send button. You can directly email it to them, or you can share the link. I like to shorten the URL. It does it for you automatically just by clicking the button. And that allows it, it's a lot easier to handle. If you're going to embed it in a website, you can do that as well. So you just simply copy and you can send it to your students. If you're posting it in Schoology, you can just simply post the link in Schoology. And once students start answering it, their responses will appear here. So obviously we have no responses. So let's go and look. We're going to look at a preview of this. I'm going to stop sharing and reshare so we can get to the preview. Okay. All right,
Sarah,
so there we are.
We have another question. So for a math short answer constructed response, you probably need to use text rather than numbers, or is there a better way?
You would want to, I'm just looking for the question to post it. You're going to want to use short answer text. That'll be the easiest way to do that. Unfortunately, there are add-ons that you can add on to extension programs that you can add on to Google Forms to help extend in regard to adding for math programs. Again, Lisa, I can find that for you. I don't have it in front of me, but if you wanted to send me an email, I can definitely get you that add-on, find that add-on for you, okay? So this is in the preview. We're looking at the preview of the quiz. We can add my, all right, so 1609. Actually, let's give this a wrong answer. Demo teacher has got Math Made Digital, Equate.io. would be a tool that you can add on to it. I am an English teacher, so I don't use math very often. All righty then. And so let's see, October 27th, and let's see the beginning. So we can submit.
We
all
have
right.
a question, Sarah. Is all this shared in your Google Classroom? Is one question.
This can be shared in your Google Classroom. If you are in using Google Classroom, you can simply add it to any assignment. In fact, if you do a create assignment with the quiz, it will automatically link the quiz and the grading to the grading portion of Google Classroom. If you are sharing this in Schoology, you will then have to go back in and add the grade at this point, unless you have there's another extension that you can add on to Schoology to extend the application of G Suite within the program. Okay.
And then an additional question, how can we use this for mathematics equations such as graphing?
That's a good question. I'm going to have to double check on that one for you as well, Corrine. Again, I'm the English teacher, not the math teacher, but I do understand that I have been told that there are ways to extend that as well. But I cannot confirm that without doing a double check. And I don't want to do that live while you're all waiting for me. All right. So just drop me an email and I'll be able to help you find those programs, unless somebody knows and wants to add it in. All right. Just going to stop sharing real quick. And we're going to go back to the original quiz.
One more question.
Sure.
Will this be available to view after this is finished?
This video will be available to view afterwards. It will be on my YouTube channel. I had wanted it to be on the Gig Bermuda channel. Unfortunately, that is still being in the process of being launched for live broadcast. So that was the challenge. All right. So here we are. We're in a, you can see where this is the questions. This is the responses. I can look via summary. So I can see point distribution. I can look at things by question and see which ones are right, which ones are wrong. I can go by individual and I can mark things as wrong. So this is done automatically. This one is correct. It's done automatically. And this one's done correct automatically. Yes, you can add videos and photos as well. So let me show you that real quick. We're going to add a question. So in our title, if I want to add an image that will appear as I'm hovering over the question box, I can just click in and add an image. So if you have a, something for math, or if you have a graph that you want them to label, etc., you can just upload that right there. What is also really cool, especially for your students who are weaker readers or younger levels, you can actually add images to your answers as well. So for example, let's go back up here so we can add an image. I can go to Google image search. Oh, there we go. Searching. I can add, it's now added an image to my answer options. So that might be an easier way as well. If you are creating images for pictures and videos. You can add regular images anywhere in there as well. Let's see, kangaroo. And we can add an image just randomly inside. Give it a title. If you're finding that you need to move your questions around, you can simply just drag and move them up. So you'll see these little 6 buttons at the top. You can just move the question, drag it up and move the questions around. And you can add videos. You can add sections and go for a much more complicated question quiz, right? We're using all of those tools. But we're going to keep it simple for right there. All right, so you can add your videos, you can add images. You can make a response required or not. That is definitely useful, especially if you know that, if those of us who are at primary and middle school levels who are doing standards-based grading, you can go there and sorry, I'm reading a question that somebody's asked. So you can make a question, you know, the one you can say all the level 2 questions are required, the level 3 questions are optional, or vice versa. You can change that up there. How do you get to add the option for the email for the person taking the quiz? So simply click on the send button. So if you'll see that there are different options here. So if the little envelope appears, you can just simply type in the emails there. Adding collaborators would be other people who are building the quiz with you. If you want the link, you're going to click the chain link, little chain here, and go from there, and you'll get the long link. Or you can click the button to shorten the URL and simply copy and paste as you need it. So that is how you would do that. All right. Yes, you can switch on collect email as well. All right, so let's stop sharing there. I'm going to close another window on my screen. All righty then. Now we're going to start looking at one of my favorite, literally my favorite Google tools is Google Slides. As I heard someone's described it as, Google Slides is really the Swiss Army knife of all the Google products. Most of us are used to creating PowerPoint presentations. Lisa, I'll come back to your question in a second. Most of us are used to creating PowerPoint presentations that we kind of just click through. Some of us go to the next level and add some animations. But Google Slides, because it's web-based and it's integrated with the Google search and all these other tools, it allows for some really, really cool things. And we're going to go from there. Lisa, I'm going to try and come back to your question a little later in regard to that since we're on Google Slides, okay? All right, so let's have a look. So what is it? It is a web-based presentation program. All right, so the first thing we want to look at is creating a Bitmoji Classroom. This was like all the rage over lockdown. All over the world, teachers were making their Bitmoji Classrooms. In fact, if you learn how to use Bitmoji and all of the bits, you can even add animated Bitmojis to your Google Classroom. But what this does is because of the interactivity of Google Slides, you can include all kinds of clickable items to kind of help your students connect, okay? All right, so let's have a look. We have, the first thing you need to do is create a Bitmoji account. What you need to do that is you need to download the application on your smartphone, okay? You can access it online, but to be able to customize your character to make it look like you kind of need to do that on your phone. So download the app, the Bitmoji app on your phone. Then you can install the extension from the Google Web Store into your Chrome browser. So it has to be Chrome browser because it doesn't connect with the other ones. All righty then. Once you've got it installed in Chrome, you can then begin creating your classroom, add your Bitmoji self, add any hyperlinks, and keep going. So here is an example of a Bitmoji classroom. This one is just basic. I haven't created any hyperlinks, but it kind of gives you an idea. In fact, a colleague in the US created this classroom. So I kind of used it because it was nice and pretty and easy to access. And what you can do is you can actually make each item in this room clickable. So the student, when they have access to this slide presentation, they can simply click on the item and go from there. All righty then. Here's another example of a classroom. Again, we have our Bitmoji. I'm actually going to come out of presentation and there we go. So now you see my full slide presentation. So how do I do this? I'm going to stop sharing and we're going to go to the full screen. Okay. And you'll see there's lots of stuff going on my screen. And up here, I have the Bitmoji app added to my Google Chrome. I simply click on it. It pops open. Oops. And then I can find whichever one I want. If I want one with a specific word, It'll pull up ones that are similar. It will even add the word that I have typed in into some of the options. So there we go. So we can pick one that we want, and all I literally need to do is click and drag. And it's in my screen on my page. As simple as that. If I need to change my outfit, I do need to go to my phone, change my outfit on my phone, and then the outfits will change there. Now, say I have something that I want to become clickable. So the best version of you, if I click on that, click on the item I want to be clickable, I can just simply click the insert link, add the link or search. If I want it to go to a specific slide in the presentation, I can select the slide number. And then when the student clicks on it, let's see, let's do this one, www. Okay, I can apply it. So then when the student clicks on it, and this is disappearing off the side of the screen, oops. Let's make this a little bit smaller so you can see the whole screen. So I click on it and the link is now connected to the item. You can add videos. If you wanted to create a TV screen in there, you could create a TV screen and add a video right into your document. So here we go. We can go to insert, video, go to YouTube. If you know it, the share link, you can just simply add the share link. Otherwise, you can do a search. Let's see. The search. And we find the video we want. All right. Select and insert it. What is brilliant about Google Slides is that no matter what, you know that video is going to play, okay? I have found that when I put a video, in spite of the fact that I have embedded the video in my PowerPoint presentation, depending on how my computer is acting and how my internet connection is working, it may or may not play, all righty then? So no matter what, I never have a problem with getting videos to play because of the interconnectivity between the two programs. So that makes life so, so easy. All right, I'm going to stop sharing so that, let's go. And tips and tricks. There we go. All righty then. So we can go back to the full regular presentation there. All right. So you can be as creative as you want with this. You can put in a creative, fun black background by changing the background on the page. It's entirely up to you. But the kids do have a ton of fun with this. I've seen people do things like, so they had a math set, you know, especially with primary school teachers, they had their page and they would connect that one slide up on their classroom Google website, and they would have a section that was for their math. They would have a section that was for English, and maybe in the reading section, they had a link to a video. So either it was a direct play on the screen or it linked to the YouTube video where the teacher had actually read the story out loud for the students. So it is so brightly colored and it's so much fun. The kids really, really do love it. And I find that it's a lot more easier to work with than PowerPoint. Not saying that PowerPoint doesn't have its usage. It's just that this is online. And again, you can access it anywhere you want. All right. The next thing that is a little bit different is that Google Slides can be turned into a digital interactive notebook. So I would imagine that there are a ton of teachers in the room today that have used interactive notebooks in their classrooms. So they've created the cut and paste documents where the kids are the flip charts, etc., the manipulatives in their students' notebooks. So this is a way of doing that without actually having to physically cut and paste, but you can do it digitally. So you can incorporate manipulatives, you can do links to review and extension content, you can include photos, videos, and GIFs, which is super, super cool. All righty then. What we're going to do is you want to make sure that you're considering the dimensions of the page. So we're going to look at that in a second. You're going to consider using tabs, which would link to different sections of the notebook. You're also going to think about taking advantage of the workspace around the slide for extra instructions, extra space. And you want to make sure that you're making an individual copy for each student. Now, if you are sharing the document, a Google Slide digital interactive notebook through Schoology, or if you are doing it through Google Classroom, you can just set it to make an individual copy for each student. Otherwise, there's a trick that I'll show you at the end of the session that you can share any Google document and force the person to make their own copy. So it really, really makes things a lot easier for you. Okay. All right, let's go back there. I'm going to stop sharing because I am going to take you into an interactive notebook. Let's make sure I've got the right one. All right. There we go. So here we go. This is a sample digital interactive notebook that you can create for your students. When I talk about the workspace, that would be all of this space around it. So if you have your notebook, you can always add in a little bit of extra information on the sides, whether that's instructions, etc. So you can go to your shapes. There is a cool sticky note shaped one. You can create a sticky note here. I can change the color of it. Type your instructions here. And you have an extensive way to build off of your notebook. If you have an interactive section where the students are doing the drag and drop, so you can put the items on the side and the students can drag them onto the page. You're going to see here we have the tabs. The tabs are all connected to specific slides in the, I've also added, oh, this one is not set up. So you can go back to the main beginning. You can click on another one. My mouse is being funny. I need to rechange the batteries in it. And so we can click on the slide. Again, it's going to take you to the appropriate slide. So there we go. You can make this as pretty, as simple as you wish and keep going. I like to include a table of contents as well. I will share this link with you guys so that you can have access to this document. Let's see. Let me do that right now so I don't forget. All right. And let's put this in so you can get a copy of this for yourself. All right, so that you can have this to work off of and see. You can see I've got a video built in right into my screen. We have different kinds of pages that we can create. There's notes about how to set up the pages, etc. So what would you do? How do you change the pages? Go on the size of the pages. Go under File, and you're going to go under Page Setup. And you're going to make sure that this is set to custom. It will automatically default to standard or wide, one of the wide screens. So set it to custom, and then you can determine if you want it 8.5 by 11 or whatever. I like 8.5 by 11 or 11 by 8.5 because then if I need to print those pages for a student, I can print those pages easily for them. Simply click Apply, and it would change the setting. Of course, I haven't made any changes, so it won't do anything there. All righty then. Sorry, I'm trying to make sure I'm not forgetting something for you. So if you're creating a link, you just simply, again, like in the Bitmoji Classroom, you click on the item, or you can highlight the text, click on the chain at the top, and you can insert your link. Now, if you are wanting it to connect to a different section in the slide presentation, you're going to click Link. You're going to go to this drop down to Slides in this presentation. I strongly recommend that you do not use next slide, previous slide, first slide, or last slide. And the reason for that is those can change. if you add any pages, if you duplicate a page and you want to make a copy of something so that you have a second copy of it, maybe it's a notes page, that number will change. And so the link will stick with the correct page as opposed to going to whatever the next page is. So that is something important to think about. So let's have a look at there's lots of information in here on how to do the setup, adding videos, table of contents, changing your background. So just simply clicking the background button, you can pick a color, you can pick a gradient, you can choose an image, you can upload, you can do a Google image search, etc., and find and reset theme if you need to, done, etc. So let's have a look at some of the different kinds of note pages that we can have. So it's just a basic straight notepad page. Student simply double clicks on the section where you say type here, and they are typing their notes. And there we go. For those of you who are wanting to get your students in the habit of writing down their learning intention, the success criteria, again, you can set up a page that is designed for that more specifically. Some schools are using Cornell Notes, so that can be another way. You can create a blank page, and the student simply, to duplicate a page, you click on the page in the sidebar, not the main page itself. Click on the link in the sidebar. You'll see an orange bar has appeared, outline has appeared on that item. You're going to right click it, and you can simply click on duplicate slide. Okay, so you can make multiple copies of it. Here's another example. This could be used for a choice board, or it could be used for Monday's assignment, etc., for each day, the extended learning, extension, etc., added in each item. We can have our Zoom link codes in there. Basically, however creative you can get with different shapes, and on Google Slides, you can create your own. So we have a T-chart, we have a plot diagram. This one was created with just the shapes in Google Slides. Of course, you can upload one and have stuff added to it. We can add sticky notes to the side. Here we go. We have, again, I'm an English teacher, so I think of those sort of things. Vocabulary affixes and meanings, so that we're learning on our vocabulary. A KWL or a KWHLAQ chart. The bottom one is super good for our older students to really extend their thinking. You can create your own digital word wall. Just create multiple versions of this page, change the letter out, and the students can begin typing their vocabulary words that they're collecting in each section. Our writer's journal. So in English, we try to encourage our students to keep a record of their reading. I created this page to help them think through the steps of some of the things that they could be writing down, including using Google Explore so they can add an image if they want to help them remember in the future. You can create a Venn diagram. You can simply use the circles. And any shape that you make, you can double click on, and let's grab a circle. All right. If you hold the Shift key while you're making your shape, it'll keep it uniform. So if you've created your shape, you can just simply double click on it, and you can type inside. It's a super handy. So you can then format it as well. So if you want to change the font, the justification, size. So make your circle and then add the text box, correct. You do not actually have to add the text box. You can literally type inside the shape. Okay. So I'm just going to delete that out. Here are some other examples for those of you with the smaller ones. If we're doing our mathematics, our basic maths, so we can create a page. We have our 5 apples in the tree. We take 3 off. 1, 2, 3. How many are left in the tree? The student can then type their answer in the text box that's here And you can see I've added a border so that they can see where they're writing it in. I'm going to pull in real close to this one so that you can see this a little bit better. This again is another matching activity. I believe it's P5 where you do habitats. If I remember correctly, my kids are a little bit grown now. So you can add your items and they can drag and drop them to the spot. You can add an extension for extensive learning. You'll see if you click on this is going to take you to Google Earth so that they can see on maps the footage from the satellite of the African plains. And here, instead of just using a static image, I've simply inserted a GIF. And so how did I do that? So I go to Insert and I go to Image, search the web. And if I do my item, so let's see, GIF, I click and enter, and I can go from there. Or I can go to one of the GIF websites, download it to my computer, and upload it. If you want an item that has no outline on it, no white bar, the trick to searching for that is to do PNG, search for the item with PNG, or or transparent. And so that will help you with getting a nice clean image like these apples that can be moved around without having to worry about not knowing how to delete the backgrounds on the item. All right. So here, I'm going to zoom back to fit. So we have a animal habitat poetry page. You could connect it to an interactive, to a school website if you are providing the link. And I will show you how to do a link that is so that they have to make their own copy. Because if you just share the link as you copy it, everybody will be working off of the exact same document. So I will show you how to do that in a little bit. So just sharing the public link can create a problem if you don't want everybody working off the same document. All right, so animal. And then there is some information on digital stickers. This is super, super. If we have time at the end, I will show you how to make a digital sticker. We'll see how that goes. But in this link, and I'm going to share this again, if I can find it, I'll post that up there. So it's in the chat. I'm going to try and copy it. No, it won't let me copy it at the moment. Let me share it again. And so you have it again. At the end, I have some links to where you can find pre-made interactive notebooks. So I'm going to show you another one real quick. Stop share. Let's close this window and go to another. It gets easier and easier to navigate my page because I have less and less open each time. So here's another one. This was one that is available online. And this again shows you step by step. Unfortunately, if you Google interactive notebooks, you are going to find all kinds of different options. So this just kind of gives you an idea of what they can look like. They can be really simple. They can be really fancy. It's entirely up to you how creative you want to be with it. All right, here's another example. All right, so here's another one, nice and bright and cheery. So you can do them as you see fit. Design them just using shapes and colors and borders to add some color to your students' notebooks. All righty then. So I'm going to stop sharing that. Does anybody have any questions in regard to, Google Slides at this point? Feel free to pop them in the chat. I'm going to take a quick drink. All right, for those of you who have to go, we're going to continue going on. Of course, you can come back to the YouTube channel and watch the rest of the video from here on out. We might end up with a lot of extra time to for questions. We might finish early. We'll just have to see how it goes. All righty then. So those of you who are going, sorry to see you leave, but hopefully you'll be able to log in to YouTube a little later and watch the rest. All righty then. So the next thing I wanted to show you is a little bit about Google Chrome and Google Drive. So what is Google Chrome? Google Chrome is Google's own internet browser. And I will tell you, yes, almost all of the Google products will work on any browser, but you do have added benefits when you're using it in Chrome, okay? And we're gonna look at some of those in a minute. And Google Drive, basically, it is a web-based file storage and synchronization service. So if you are working on something at home, you can work on it at home. You go to school, you're on a different computer, or you're on somebody else's computer, you can log in and still access what you're working on, no matter where you're at. Okay? So the first thing is I want to show you how to copy items to your drive. It is so easy. All righty then, share screen. We're going to go to the Chrome tab.
Sarah, we just have another question as you're switching over. How do you add Bitmoji to your toolbar?
All right, we'll show you that in a little bit as well, okay, if that works, because I can show you how to do that, all right? So share, all right, here we go. We are in my Google Drive, and we're on my screen. There you go, you can see multiples. For me to add something to my drive, if I have it on my desktop, I literally can click and drag and drop, and it will upload. Okay. For some reason, that one is not doing it at the moment. I recommend that you open the folder that you want it to be in. I know why this is not acting. It's acting up because I'm sharing the screen at the moment. All righty then. So you can just simply drag and drop. The other thing, oh, there it goes. It's just taking its time. There we go. And so we can drag and drop. You can see Pink Sand Beach, Bermuda is finally going up. Its upload is complete. It is now in my drive. It's just going a little slow today, that's all. And I can search for my drive. Now, say you have a bunch of items, you've been using Microsoft Word all this time. You can actually, my computer is moving really slowly right now. You can actually automatically upload and transfer everything to Google Docs. So if you go under settings, this is the toolbar, little gear icon at the top, click on settings. And gosh, my computer is slowing up today. It is not happy right now. All right, I will talk you through this at the moment. I'm going to stop sharing for a second, see if that helps. Go back to the Google Slides. When you work with tech, you have to get used to doing stuff all the time. So if you click on that little gear icon at the top, you can then click on a feature that allows you to automatically convert MS Word files into Google Docs. I'm going to try and get that to work in a second, if it'll let me. I'm going to stop sharing again, see if it'll do it. I think my internet is lagging. I think that is what is going on at the moment. All righty then. So let's see if it'll do it. So settings, we have our gear icon. We're going to go to settings. And it is just moving extra slow right now. I apologize for that. Let's give it a second and see if it will open. And it is not opening. It is my internet. My internet is slowed up. That means that my teenager is probably awake and using the internet at the moment. But there is an option to do that. So you just go on to that, you click on settings, and you will see that there is a button that you can turn on and off for converting documents directly to Google Docs. Okay. Also, if you have a document that you want to send to somebody, but you want them to make their own copy, what you want to do is you're going to take that URL, and you're going to see here's the webinar notes. I'm going to start sharing this now so you can download these yourself. There is the very last backslash, okay? So you have the last backslash, and normally this will say edit and a bunch of codes at the end of it. But if you erase that information that's at the end of the last backslash, you can change that to copy, and when the person clicks on that link, it will automatically force them to make their own copy, so that they are not actually, you're not sharing your own document with them. They then have their own copy of it. So that can be a really useful tool, whether you're sharing a document with a colleague, or if you're sharing it with students, you can do that as well. Okay, let's see. All right, so we're actually almost done. So we had a couple of questions. Bitmoji. So what you want to do, let's go to the Chrome Web Store. All right, so we're going to the Chrome Web Store. We click on the Chrome Web Store. Okay, and you can find all kinds of extra bits in here. You simply do a search for Bitmoji. Select, double click on it, and because I have this log added to my program, I can just, it wouldn't say remove, it would say add to for you if you don't have it already added. In regards to the best extension to convert PDF files, the one that I have had recommended to me the most, to be honest, was actually Kami. Unfortunately, Kami does come at a cost. That's Kami. That comes at a cost, but that is the one that is the most highly recommended. Of course, you can always use the snip tool on your computer. There is a website called I Love PDF. I think it's called I Love PDF. Yes, literally ilovepdf.com, and you can upload a PDF and then convert it. To stick it up, you can download the items as JPEGs or PNGs. You can convert a Word item to PDF, etc. It's a super useful website to add stuff. All righty then. All right, so I don't know what school that is. Demo teacher. You have Watts, you have Kami installed at your school. So that means you already have access to it, and you can do some converting of items to PDF and back and forth. You can also convert, from what I understand, you can convert I haven't paid for it, that's why. You can convert a PDF to an interactive page. So you can turn it into a Google Docs page or a Microsoft Word page so that your students can type directly in it. All righty then. So we're going to open the floor up to any other questions. All right, so also small PDF is free as well, but you can only do 2 docs per day. So there's that. That is CBA that has access to Kami built in already. So that they are the ones that are going to be able to help you with that. I'm just going to scroll back to Ms. Gayton. Let's find that question she asked. Unless, Ms. Gayton, you want to repeat it, because there's a lot of chat, lots of stuff in here. Trying to find it. All right, Ms. Gayton, if you can repeat that question that you had asked earlier, I'd appreciate it. Then I can go back and answer it. I think it was in regard to Google Docs, but I can't remember. It might have been slides. All righty then. Any other questions?
Sarah, the question you might be thinking of, is it the how to add Bitmoji to the toolbar? Is
okay.
I'm trying to,
How to add it.
To find the other one. You got it?
All right. So I'm gonna pull out of the demo mode of this presentation, and I'm gonna share my screen. Okay. So I'll go back to it. So you can see I have, because I've been to the Chrome Web Store, and I've added the extension to it. You can see it up here. There's this little green button that's appeared with all my extensions. So I have Google Translate, Screencastify, which is a screen video recorder. This is for, I think that's Edpuzzle, Duelist, which splits the screen. This is simply for recording video, audio. So there's tons and tons and tons of tools out there. So I've added that to my browser from the Chrome Web Store. I simply click on it. Once I've installed it, it's in there. The first time you're logging in, it's going to ask you to log in. So it's just going to ask for your email that you use to set it up on your phone in the application. And you just simply pop it open and then find the image you want. So obviously there's a bunch of pre-designed ones already. Okay. You can go back to the star. You can add. You can type in words and it will add them to the sticker for you. So you can simply, it'll create the sticker for you. So what do you do? How do you add it to your stuff? You click and you drag. You click and you drag. Not double click, click and drag, and it will add it to the page. Okay? It is as simple as that. How can you make Google Slide presentations with movable items? What you're going to want to do is, stop. Let's go back to this so you're not seeing absolutely everything. What do you want? When you share it, you want to share it as the full document. So if you want them to be able to maneuver stuff around, you're going to want to be able to share it to them as they are as an editor. Okay. So anyone with the link can view or you want to change it. So anyone with the link can edit. But if you are making their own copy of it, then they can they access it from the editing mode, and then they can move things around themselves. Okay. Stop share. All righty then. I see some more questions coming up. Just give me a sec. All righty then. So can you make Google Slide presentations with movable parts? Totally. Just add images and the students can click and move them around. Again, they need to be accessing it in editing mode, not in viewer mode. Okay. In regard to questions audible questions, I believe there is a way. I'm going to have to double check that one, Ms. Gayton, to double check with it. One audible, as demo teacher is showing, that is, yes, there is an audible. You can always add a video to the question. That is the easiest way to do it. There is, I believe there is an add-on to add the audio, but I will just have to find out what it is. All right. There is a Google attendance form. So I'm going to post that in the link right now, in the chat bar right now. So those of you who want to get ahead, that if you click on the survey link, that is, oops, there we go. You click on that, there is a attendance link, so that information will be passed on to the BUT for attendance purposes. It also gives you an opportunity to give me some feedback on today's session. Okay. Another really great application, and that's being shared here. Oops, wrong one. Things moved too quickly. is Pear Deck. Pear Deck, for those of you who were in the differentiation session with Shannon Rose yesterday, that is, she used Pear Deck. Pear Deck interacts with Google Slides and increases its interactivity even more. And things can be done live right there and then when students are working. Will this presentation be saved to watch later? Yes. If you come back to this, this page at the end of the broadcast on my Google Facebook page, if you give me a second, I can find the link. And I can share that with you so you can come back. I'm not going to be deleting it. Just make sure. All right. So there we go. I'm getting that link for you. So if you want to come back, this is the link to come back to the presentation. If you want to review anything on the video down the line, okay? All right, any other questions? Otherwise, we're going to end up finishing a little early, which is fine with me because my voice is starting to go. I don't know about you. So I did want to share a few things with you. GEG Bermuda. GEG is Google Educator Group. Google has designed this program to try and establish ones in different countries, in different regions. So we have recently, just go, if your school is not listed, go under, give me a second and let me just check it. Click on, and I can tell you which one to pick. Click the back button, and at what grade level do you teach? Click on the other on the first page, and you can just add your school in there. I apologize for missing one out. There's a lot of schools. There's, depending on whether you're a preschool, primary school, or a middle, high, or a specialist school, those are all separate sections so that you didn't have to look at every single possible school option. So trying to make that a little bit easier. But yes, GEG Bermuda, Google Educator Group Bermuda, recently launched. We went live. We had our first live webinar. That was my very first live webinar ever in regards to using YouTube Live. That was supported by Google Global, Google Educator Group Global, Google, I can't even speak anymore. Look at that. Google Educator Group Global. There we go. So you can find us on Facebook. You can ask questions. This is a space for teachers to share with each other, okay? So if you have a question, post your question. Feel free, if you know the answer, add a link, tell people what works for you, what doesn't work for you, and you can keep going with that. I will pipe in every so often, obviously, as well, share information. We're looking to have events at least once a quarter. For now, virtually down the line, we'd like to have some in-person sessions if that can be done as well. And as you remember, I am also a certified Google trainer. Okay, so actually let me share the Facebook group link. All righty then, that is, oops, Facebook. I will repost the, so this is the Google Educator Group link in the chat, okay? This is the BUT attendance. If you click on that one, that will come up, and you can just click on that link, and you'll be able to, I'll be able to do the attendance for you. All righty then, I am, like I said, I'm also a Google certified trainer, and so if you want to hit my website up, that is this one here. Okay, you do need to make sure you have that HTTPS at the front of it for some reason. I don't know why, but it won't. If you just try to go to sarahwesthead.com, it won't always open for some reason. I don't know why. Anyway, I will be hosting more webinars in the future. I'm also looking to do another Google Certified Educator Bootcamp, and that is a 6-week course, an hour and a half each week for 6 weeks where you can, that is a paid course. I prep you and I work you through all of the skills required if you are desirous of sitting the Google Certified Educator Level 1 exam. Okay. It did open. Okay, awesome. That's awesome. Sometimes it's funny about that. So if you go onto Facebook, someone's asking about Facebook. Okay, I will share a link to this all right, again in the future. So if you go onto Facebook and look up GEG Bermuda on Facebook, you'll be able to find us. There is some questions for joining, but it's an automatic join just to make sure that I know who's, to avoid spamming purposes and all of that. If you want the webinar notes, I'm going to share that again. Okay. So there is the webinar notes, and you'll see that last backslash and copy. So that'll force you to make a copy to your own drive for that. All right. All righty then. And I'll do this. I'll do the post webinar and registration one more time as well. Righty then. And there we go. So if you click into this Google form, you can do attendance and leave me some feedback for today. Well, I think this has been a pretty successful session. Beth, I'm going to bring you back in real quick, okay, if you want to turn your camera back on so we can say goodbye to everybody. All right. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. Thank you especially to Beth for helping me behind the scenes to make sure, because you can imagine there's a lot to see and do, a lot of buttons to push. So her helping to monitor the chat really did help with monitoring. And I hope that this has been beneficial for everybody as well. Again, I'm going to put my email, my personal email, in the chat as well, so that you can access me that way. And then my school email, if you have questions down the line, you can hit me up with a question. And if I don't know the answer, I can find it. As a librarian, that's my thing. I can find anything. So you are able to do multiple choice forms in questions, and you can do a grid. Actually, you can also do a grid. So in Google Forms. All right, then.
Hi, Mrs. Welch. Good afternoon.
There we go. All right. So I am so thankful that you are here. Thank you, Darmel. I'm glad you've enjoyed it. I hope it was beneficial for everybody that was here today. Thank you again. And we are going to just do a quick, we're going to log off in just a minute. Just went on. It's easy to join. I'm assuming that's the Facebook group. Super easy. Yes. Thank you very much. Glad you had some fun today. Oh, about the scoring. Okay. Lisa, send me an email and I can work through your question for you. Even if it means that we do a one-on-one and we can do a session and I can show you how to do it one-on-one, okay? All righty then. Well, have a good afternoon. Enjoy the rest of your day and enjoy your midterm break. It's well deserved.
Thank you, everyone.
All right. We're about to end the broadcast. Have a great day. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody. Enjoy your break.